Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, you can go ahead and subscribe. Today I'm going to be talking about my mental health journey and what I've experienced for like the past 2 years. Just dealing with a lot of anxiety, built up stress, built up tension, just things that really stressed me out. I know it's hard for a lot of people to come to the conclusion that they have anxiety or depression, or they might have a bipolar disorder and don't even know it, or they might experience symptoms and, completely ignore it, or they might drink, smoke, whatever the case may be. In my case, what I decided to do was get help, which means that I did go to therapy. I had really bad panic attacks. When I say really bad, like I would go from work to the hospital because I just thought I was dying. Every single day I thought I was dying. It was so crazy how my brain just was like, it was going haywire. And a lot of mental health issues and symptoms come from stress and things like that. You can be overwhelmed in school, your home life, bad breakup, whatever the case may be. I went through a breakup. It wasn't a terrible breakup, but, it stressed me out. It stressed me out because when you're with somebody for a long time, you don't expect the worst. So a lot of things just happened, one by one, and eventually it builds up inside you. And once it builds up inside you and you don't get it out, it's just, it can harm you. It really can. Stress can harm you. It can harm your body. It can harm your mind. It can just physically debilitate you. So the way I started therapy is I was actually referred to a location out in Valley Stream, and my interview process to actually start treatment was 3 interviews. I had an interview with the therapist, the psychiatrist, and then the therapist again. So this is like a really invasive kind of therapy that I do. I see my therapist at least once or twice a week, which is very expensive. I have spent a lot of money seeking therapy throughout the entire time I was dealing with anxiety. And some people get discouraged because they feel like they're not being understood, or, there's several reasons why people don't go to therapy. They don't believe in medication. They don't believe in certain things, that the therapist is telling them, or they don't believe in psychiatrists. To be honest, there's just a lot of stigmas behind therapy, and there's a lot of stigmas behind the medication and things like that. My experience when I first started therapy, I was very against getting medication and taking medication for my anxiety. And then I really came to the conclusion that your mental health is actually your physical health. It's a illness. It's a health condition that can debilitate you. For the past 2 years, it was hard for me to go outside, hang out with my friends, actually be with people, be around people. At a certain point, it's like, how do I live life? How am I supposed to go on? You can do everything that you think is right, and you can still feel wrong. I prayed that the anxiety would just go away. Anxiety does not go away on its own. I had several panic attacks that led me to the hospital. You can get headaches. You can get nauseous when you're around, crowds, or a lot of what I experienced was terrible. It was very terrible. And if you are somebody who is trying to seek help, my first thing would be to call a therapist or a psychiatrist and get evaluated first. And you don't just wake up one day and say, hey, I want to see a therapist. I mean, some people do, but over time, you're going to realize that what you could have done last year or 2 weeks ago, you could have did today. So the main goal for me as a person was just to actually get relief from the panic attacks, because not only was I having, panic attacks, but it would take me a long time to calm down from certain panic attacks. I remember one time I went into the hospital and I was having a terrible, terrible panic attack to the point where they literally injected me with Ativan. They injected me with Ativan, and I just remember like the room started spinning, and I just felt like my whole body just dropped. Like it just sunk into itself, because I was so like, I was crying. I was like panicking. My heart was racing. I was making it race more because I'm panicking. I have these chest pains, and it's not a good feeling. If you are that somebody, I do recommend going to therapy and being evaluated first by a psychiatrist. Now, medications are one thing, therapy is another. So some people think that, oh, because you take medication that it makes you crazy, or it makes you do, weird things, or you have weird thoughts. I don't have any of that, and I've been on my medication for months now. Even back then when I was having panic attacks, they would literally prescribe me Xanax, and I would take it and I would feel like a normal human being. It wouldn't make me crazy. It wouldn't make me high. I wasn't like loopy, and I wasn't really like off the shits. Like I was fine, because I was already in a state of like, anxiousness and panic. So when I finally am able to calm down, I feel like a normal person. Medications have stigmas behind them. Some people will agree, some people don't agree with them. But if you think about it as a health condition, you will understand that somebody with diabetes is going to need medication. If you have a mental illness or you have a panic disorder, you're going to need medication. So, I mean, some people are able to cope differently. Some people are able to just pray and do yoga and things like that. I love yoga. Yoga is amazing. It helped me in many different ways, but sometimes you need an extra push. And my experience with the medication is it really did give me a push. It really gave me a sense of clarity. There's a chemical in your brain that is kind of like lacking at what you really need. And the medication is there to help you. For a long time, I swear, I did not want to take that medication. Probably 2 or 3 years now, it took me to take medication. I know some people, it took them 6 years and 10 years to take medication. And it's not an easy thing to do. It's not, but you have to have support of friends, family, therapist. A lot of people don't have that kind of support, and it's sad, but you have to think of it as something for yourself. If it's for you, you got to do it. Now, I'm not saying just go and start researching medications to take. No, it doesn't work like that. You need to see a psychiatrist first. Make sure you talk to your doctor. Tell them exactly what you're feeling, because I'm sure I'm not the only person with this chronic panic disorder, because for a long time I thought I was, but I'm sure there's other people that are experiencing exactly what you're experiencing. Don't be that person that walks around thinking that, you're the only one that feels that way. No. I used to be like that. I used to think that all the time. Like, it took me at least 2 to 3 therapists to get to the one that I'm with now. And the therapist that I'm with now, she's amazing. She's great. She's older. She's experienced. She's not young. I'm a very mature person, so somebody who was young or just as young as me probably wouldn't have worked out, honestly, because the way that I view certain things is beyond like my age limit, I guess. I don't know. But everyone should seek therapy for sure. If you're having depression, now I mean I've experienced depression before, but not chronic depression, and that's a dark place to be. If you are in that dark place, whether you know you had a death in the family or you have post-traumatic stress disorder, whatever it is, you get help for that. There is help. There is so many different things you could do, so many groups you can join. And I'm not saying just go out and, like I said, just go out and find somebody. Do your research first. Look up a therapist in your area or a highly recommended person. I always look at reviews, like no matter what. I always look at reviews because I don't want to be with a therapist that's like telling me okay to everything. Like, oh, okay, yeah, I understand. Like, sometimes my therapist is not always going to understand where I'm coming from. She actually never understands where I'm coming from, obviously. But, some things she agrees with me. You have to be able to be comfortable telling your therapist literally everything that you're feeling. And some things you don't have to share with them. But when it comes to the disorder, like my panic disorder, I tell my therapist what I'm feeling. If I'm anxious or I'm having chest pain or my muscles are tight or, I tell her because she tells me exactly how to work it out. She's actually the one who got me into using more essential oils like lavender, um, peppermint oil, and patchouli. I take Lexapro, which is only 10 milligrams. My doctor started me out with 5 milligrams only because I was super, 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 super scared to take medication. And he started me out with literally 5 milligrams, which is not even a dose that's treatable. Like, that's not a dose that they would use to treat anxiety at all. But I did notice a difference after like a month of taking just 5 milligrams. And then eventually I spoke to him and told him that, I was still experiencing symptoms. Mind you, this was only a couple months ago, so he would increase it to 10. 10 is a dose that will treat anxiety. Minor anxiety, really, 10 milligrams, but I think like the average dose of a single person is 20 milligrams, and I think that's with most of the medications that are for anxiety. I don't know about depression medication. The Lexapro is supposed to be for anxiety and depression. Anxiety does make you depressed, because once you're down from a panic attack and you're calm, you start thinking in your head like, damn, why did I have a panic attack like that? Like, why was I bugging out like that? What's wrong with me? Like, why am I acting this way? And it makes you upset and it makes you sad because you have all these why questions in your head. And it's not really a matter of why. It's really just a matter of, how can I fix the situation? How can I go about making myself better? How can I better myself from where I am? And it does sadden me. It saddens me sometimes that I really went through what I went through, having all these panic attacks. And really the only person that was there for me was my mom, So I didn't have anybody come into the hospital to see me when I was having a severe panic attack because it was just a panic attack. And this is really the first time I actually looked back and actually talked about it, and it was really hard for me to make this video. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It was hard for me to make this video because I never wanted to relive that time, that period of time that I spent, wasting my life away going to the hospital for a panic attack. Like, kind of embarrassing. I mean, some people would say it's not embarrassing because it happens to people all the time, but I feel like it was like so embarrassing. They would see me coming back to the hospital and the doctors would be like, weren't you just here? And I would beat you in my business. Don't do. Just be patient with yourself and be patient with others. And you will notice that once you get help for what you need to get help for, you will change. You will definitely change. I started going out more. I started, seeing my friends more and being around people more because I couldn't take, missing parts of my life that I should be, out there doing and seeing things and traveling and doing certain things. I mean, I haven't traveled because of the pandemic, but eventually I want to travel again. I can't sit at home having panic attacks for the rest of my life. I don't want to do that. Nope, that's not a way to live. So if you are thinking about seeking therapy or getting medication, do it. Do it. Do it. I didn't have any weird side effects. Some people are sensitive to certain medications, but you have to speak to your doctor and you have to let your doctor know exactly what you're feeling. Do not be afraid to tell your doctor what you are feeling because they are very experienced physicians. And there are some doctors out there who give you one medication, and that one medication might just change your entire life. It might change your entire life. Now, I'm not saying, be on medication for the next 10, 20 years or for the rest of your life, but for now, you might need it. Just like me. I don't think this is for your body, but I still use it on my skin. It's French lavender and it was imported from Portugal. I ordered this and 2 other essential oils off of Etsy, and I did not realize it was coming from Portugal. It's a French lavender. It's pure aroma oil, centers one's consciousness to create an ambiance for concentration and meditation. This oil literally stops a panic attack for me. I don't know about anybody else, but for me, this oil was like the best thing that ever happened to me. Can you guys, I'm gonna put a link in the description below so that you guys can get this, because when I tell you it smells so just relaxing, like this is a smell you will never find anywhere except for in this bottle. So this spray, it says body and air mist. It's 100% pure essential oil. It's called Lavender Garden. Get up and do your research. God works through you, not for you. So do your research. Make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure you know how things are going to affect your body if you decide to take medication. It's really not the end of the world. A panic attack will not kill you. And that's what I used to tell myself that all the time too, like a panic attack will not kill me. In certain instances, I'm sure, a fast heart rate or high blood pressure can harm your body, but that's all it's going to do is make you more anxious and just make you feel more overwhelmed and flushed. It's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling. So if you're out there and you need therapy, go get you some therapy and make sure that you stick with it. Make sure that you're consistent. Don't just give up. I hope everyone can take away something from this video, whether it's to seek therapy or start your medication or, just do something for yourself that's gonna better yourself. And I appreciate you guys for coming.